You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Psych Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course with me tonight is the Techie with the best, Techy Joe.
Hi.
Hi.
So how are you this evening? Hey, Kathy.
I'm doing well, a little all over the place.
I know, we did have to reschedule our Barista Live, so they just got done with that.
Yes.
And so they're making their way over. There's Shannon now.
Hi, Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And if you missed it, I did flip the record on so you guys won't miss out on anything we talked about other than like the opening salvos. So That's up and going. Let's see. We are headed into October, which for everyone that's been around me and for the advisors that watch this, yes, you may not comment, but I know you fucking watch this. I will say this as sweetly and as lovely as I can. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Let's do the ride for the Black Rose.
Yeah, spooky month. Spooky season.
Spooky season, honey.
Mm-hmm. Like, winter definitely brings out the haunted hay rides, the haunted houses, the haunted everything. Like, it's not just all cookies and turkeys and, like, Valentine's. Like, there's more to it than that.
Right. All right. So, I'm going to... You start out, because I've got too many options here on what to attack first.
Oh, my goodness. Well, let's start local. Like, really local.
Right.
So we do have a news story, and it is developing, but this is not our backyard specifically, but very close to us.
Yeah, this is one of the times I'm glad I didn't take the dog hiking.
Yeah, really? So Lansing, West Virginia, for those of you that don't know, is effectively the area surrounding New River Gorge, i.e. the New River Gorge Bridge. And we actually had a plane crash Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. This was a small private plane that left the Fayette County, what was that? New River Gorge Airport. And took off. It was a small plane with 3 passengers. Unfortunately, all 3 passengers are deceased. They were from Chesapeake, Virginia. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that they're still investigating to see what's going on. The aircraft is so small, there is not a black box to recover. They have not even gotten the plane out yet. Hey, Ashley and Sandy.
Hi, Ashley. Hi, Sandy. We are getting a low signal warning. Just be warned, guys. We have had problems on our internet for 2 days now.
Yeah, hence why the baristas did not get their live till tonight. Actually, and this sounds bad, but I was sitting there the whole time like, please just let it work. Please just let it work.
Right. But I will say this. Suddenlink Communications is under state investigation. Mm-hmm. We will go through this. If we happen to go off air, it's not because we chose not to do the show. We'll be back on Friday.
No, Ashley, we didn't think you were rushing at all. Believe me.
Uh-huh.
It's just, I know there are some things living in West Virginia that one should never 100% count on. I also know that we're at a point in time in which some things are necessities. And internet is one of them. Very much as it ever, now more than ever, and will continue to be a necessity.
Right.
And West Virginia, I can understand when we have severe storms. I really can. That, all right, we may lose internet, we may lose power, we may have problems. But on a clear blue sky day, really, really, really upsets me that we just cannot. And we're so sorry you missed the reschedule too, Ashley.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's just,
I really at times feel like I'm living in, I think I'd get better service in Mexico. I really do.
Well, and a lot of countries actually do have better service than we do here. And a large part of it is the sprawling infrastructure of the United States is one massive country. You know, that our definition of a state and how other countries take on the word state are totally different. And it does make for a massive differential in how we manage infrastructure and how we basically provide for those services to occur.
Yep. Now, Joe, we now have 2 votes for moving to North Carolina.
You know, I really wouldn't be opposed to a move to Greensboro. But I do think we have to drop the mountain bears part of our name.
We just have to drop the mountains.
We could be hilly bears.
No. But no, we will look at that.
Oh, baby Demir started walking today.
Yes, it's so cute. She posted a video of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's true. We could go hang around, you know, the mountain.
Well, again, you know, we could do it.
Oh, no, Greensboro I'm interested in. Yeah, no, I have no problem with that. The Barely Hill Berries. I love that one. I don't know that I can contain myself as you announce it. You know, welcome to the Barely. Now I lose my shit every time.
But no, his sister has been pushing for us to move to North Carolina for a bit now. Even offered to build us a house beside hers so that she could piss me off so I could come clean her house.
Hey, works for me. Well, you know, though, we could make life a lot easier, though, because there is that apartment complex right beside her now.
Dear,
like, what?
May I remind you of your 2 sons?
Okay, fine. But still.
I need a privacy fenced yard.
True. Just saying, though.
Like, if we're moving, I want benefits.
What isn't there a benefit in having a number to just call every time something goes wrong and be like, fix it? Like, I pay you X per month, fix it. Fix my toilet, fix my AC, fix my heater, fix my sink. I'm there. I will say that was my favorite part of renting. Like, there was a bunch of crap to renting, and that should never be forgotten. But my favorite part of renting was I didn't have to fix anything. True. I just had to, at worst, yell at people.
True, but the other side of that, however, is the massive discrimination that we get in general when we rent.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Ashley, I do have a sister in Greensboro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to be able to put my pictures where I want them. I like to be able to have who I want in my house, at my house, without a discussion on who they are or how long they will be there. I like for my landlord not to inquire upon my marital status every time they meet. And if I'm going to need more room, because I'm sure you'll meet a little woman and have children soon, and your other two roommates will move out.
Yeah, but Greensboro is not that. Like, you're not going to get that in Greensboro. Now, like...
Oh, somebody get me my wand.
Oh, Mary Tings.
Bibbity, bobbity, you don't belong here. Get your own stream.
Yeah, get your own string. Cave Troll. Love it, Shannon. Love it. Oh, Mary. Yeah, like, Ashley's like, I haven't even got to my questions yet. Like, damn, give it a minute. Like, geez. Oh, yeah, but have you tried to buy property in North Carolina? My God. Oh. Like, I was horrified. Like, when I lived down there, I had a boss that was really trying to convince me that I should buy land. And I just could not even, every time I looked at the prices, I was like, no, it's not worth it. Like, granted, this was the same boss that bought a house and he couldn't figure out why it was set back on the property until he, the Boy Scout, brought in the property map.
Mm-hmm.
And I pointed out that's because there is a legitimate, straight up cemetery in your front yard. They had to do an offset from the mark or the unmarked cemetery on the map. That is in your front yard.
Yeah.
That is why your house does not front with the rest of them. It sits back, because if they had done that, your, bedroom would be on top of a grave, or they would have had to have moved a grave. And for this, like over a decade ago, he spent like 130 some thousand in nowhere, North Carolina. Like, directions to that house involved turn at the tree. And that was a legitimate direction. It made sense.
Well, here's the thing in general with that. I wonder if he's up for selling the home, and secondly, does the people that are in the graveyard make good house cast? Like, if they'll do the dishes and dust for me, I could handle that.
It was a new build, and it's a cookie cutter neighborhood.
Ew.
Like, yeah, I'm not throwing off on his house. His house is nice. It really is, but not for me.
Yeah.
Like, I can appreciate people have things that are nice, and it is great for them. It works for them. It fits their life.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just not a house. Not because of the cemetery. I'm cool with the cemetery. I don't care about the cemetery. But the house itself and the layout, no, it's not everything I want and more.
See, I don't like cookie cutter. I must own. I will not rent. And if I can get by with it, I will not rent. If I want to hang up a picture, I want to be able to hang up a picture. If I want to knock down a wall, I want to be able to knock down a wall. If I don't think a closet belongs in my living room, I want to be able to remove it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Not to mention the discrimination. And North Carolina is one of those states that is still discriminatory. So, yeah, you've got 3 people in your house and you're dating them. Well, you will have to get out.
I don't know. I never really had that problem anywhere I lived. I will say that, like, neither apartment that I had in North Carolina caused me any real grief.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, on that front, like, they didn't care about my lifestyle, what I was doing. Like, in the one, like, I could have been running a full escort service out of my apartment, and that place wouldn't have cared, because they had so many other issues.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been the least of their concerns. It would have taken them years to care. As long as my rent was paid on time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the place that did 32 evictions in 1 month.
Right.
And then sent out a letter about if you're going to do drugs on the property, don't do it in plain view. To which I had to inform them that under the state of North Carolina, you actually just gave permission to do drugs on your property, which in the state of North Carolina can cause you to lose your property for condoning drug use on it.
Yeah.
That was a fun letter to write. I love that one. But the other apartment complex, they were cool with pretty much everything.
See, I never have that experience, ever, with renters. I've always had problems with landlords. And literally, that's why after I moved from North Carolina to West Virginia to Ohio, we bought.
No, I mean, like, the last place I was at really was awesome about pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were super nice. Like, because I moved in, and I thought that for once, in a blue miracle, Duke Energy, because if you're in North Carolina, you know who the hell Duke Energy is. I thought Duke Energy was on the ball. Like, I got my keys and my power was on, and I thought all this was great.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 weeks after I moved in, my power got disconnected because they had not come in and connected my power. The previous tenant had somehow rigged the power to bypass the meter.
Oh, so they used the roll of quarters.
Whatever they did, I got into a whole situation. It took 72 hours to get my power back on. It was a fight. But because the note I got from Duke Energy was like, it blamed me directly that I had stolen power. I was going to have to pay all this money. I was going to have to sign all these documents for them not to prosecute me. And I just took all this over to my, rental office and went, help! I just moved in. So they were really nice. They were really super cool about it. They got all of it straightened out. I didn't have to sign anything.
Right.
And then they did a decent discount on my rent for the next month. The only thing we really didn't exactly cover was the fact that the day before the power disconnected, the day before, I had gone out and fully stocked my fridge, loaded that bad boy down, and I lost everything.
Right.
Because they shut off my power on a Friday. Oh, and you're starting to get questions. Yay. Oh, Ashley's like, renting in NC has been easier than West Virginia for us. I could understand that.
Yeah.
I really can understand that. West Virginia can be very weird because West Virginia, you run into a lot of small landlords.
Right.
Especially if you're looking for space.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you want the whole yard and fence and thing.
Yeah. Actually, what I would like, and the more I look at them, I really fall in love with them, is the Mexican homes that has everything is encroached and cinder block with a gate.
Oh, you want the giant wall. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I wouldn't care about what my neighbors are outside of my home.
There is that. I do have to say, I kind of like that. It is a nice setup. Oh, God, apparently I'm freezing. So, yeah, again, if you didn't catch it earlier, we do apologize. Internet's been a little wonky. So if we're freezing up, we are so sorry.
Yep. All right, let's take questions. We'll start and get those out of the way.
All righty. So I think the first one is from Kathy.
No, I think the first one is from Devin. Which, by the way, hi, Devin.
Hi, Devin.
Kathy, that was a bot. They've been sent back to their troll land under the bridge.
Yeah, no, I think Kathy has the first one. So, Kathy, 7/28/62, when do Triz and I meet for sure?
All right. I would say it's probably around February. You meet physically February, but I feel like you meet shortly in November. Okay.
All right. And then Devin, 3/16/78. Will I be able to get a home loan? What?
Pause.
Oh, sorry.
Clean my desk off. That means I have less decks on my desk.
Oh.
All right. Let's rock it.
All right. Devin, 3/16/78. Will I be able to get a home loan in the next year?
Yes, I feel you do get a home loan in the next year. I actually feel like you'll probably get it around mid-March, and you'll find the home in late May. But I want you to make sure that they check the roof and the foundation, because there's either repair work that needs to be done or repair work that has been done, and it will affect the home's value.
All righty. And then we have Ashley up next.
Sure.
Alrighty, Ashley, 8/26/96. Do I take the job at the insurance, pharmacy insurance, or the hospital system? Also, can I get insights on October's finances for Sunny and I?
Okay. So, yuck. All right, I think your best bet is the insurance agency at the hospital system. I do not think that you should take the insurance job because that's going to suck. The insurance pharmacy job is going to destroy your self-worth and make you feel like crap and make you get out of it. So hospital system it is.
Alrighty.
All right, so let's look at finances.
Ooh, October's finances.
Yep.
Are they spooky?
No, they're not spooky. My planner's spooky. I need to set up to film my planner because I worked really hard on setting up October stuff.
And no, the part of your planner setup that needed to be filmed was when you went dancing through the house because you got to use stickers you've been saving all year.
Uh-huh.
Because he did. Janet says your money disappears like ghosts. Extra spooky. I'm very punny.
All right, I'm going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, you're going to get nitpicky on your money. You need to get nitpicky, get a plan in there. There are some emotional issues connected with money you don't want to deal with. You're going to have to take care of those this month. But I do feel financially you'll be okay as long as you watch your spending and don't get stupid with it. Set a budget, stick to it.
There you go. Not spooky at all.
Not spooky.
There you go.
But no, yes, because every seasonal planner book has Halloween stickers, Thanksgiving stickers, and Christmas stickers.
Yeah, but you getting to use the Halloween ones.
Yes.
Oh my God, you were excited.
And yes, Ashley, I feel extra will be coming in.
There you go. And sorry, Ashley, that wasn't quite the job you were hoping for.
It's the best one for her.
Yeah. And sometimes jobs are different than what they look like on paper.
Yep.
Like, that's always good to remember, is sometimes jobs sound horrible, and then you get in there, and it's like, I kind of like this.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think I'd like this, but I kind of like this.
Mm-hmm. All right. So moving on.
Yes.
Hi, Susan. How are you, darling? Haven't seen you at the table for a while.
I know. It's been a minute.
Yeah. So 12 West Virginia schools to share $4.4 million. Why the heck does his face have to be on this?
Oh, because this was part of some of the COVID spending that he fought so hard for.
fought so hard for my ass, he held up and said, I think we're spending too much.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering, the picture is Joe Manchin.
Yeah, it's Joe Manchin slapped all over this one and quoted all the way through it. So yeah, but the upside, the important side, we are getting some money into West Virginia for our at least our communities and schools. So that eligible schools and libraries to buy laptops, hotspots, and more to provide West Virginians with broadband access.
Right.
All throughout the state of West Virginia.
Exactly. And see, this is the thing, though. If they do not know how to use the technology, then it's going to go to waste. Hotspots are wonderful, but they'll get there.
Yeah. Well, and that is an important part of it. And I know, like, we have talked about the Southern West Virginia version of technology in the schools and the horrible period of the 80s and 90s in which the West Virginia school system dumped technology onto their faculty without actually providing any resources to learn how to use said technology.
Right.
And that's a large part of what I think we need to make sure we're taking a step back and realizing as we are buying all of this for West Virginia is that our libraries and our schools and the areas most likely to receive this funding or receive the greatest amount of it are going to be hit with brand new things.
Right.
Things they are not familiar with, things they have not had before. And West Virginia has a very, so to speak, graying faculty. We have a major problem in West Virginia with replacing our retirees or our soon to retires. So dropping all this on a school system or a library that has not had these things before or has had very outdated offline technology, it's going to take a lot.
Right. And see,
you can't just truck it in there and drop it off and expect it's going to be like dropping it off in other parts of the state or other parts of the country.
Well, see, this is what gets me. We have a very large slush fund. And then if we take Mosey's slush fund, we could run fiber, not just cable internet, fiber internet throughout the state following the power grid thing. And still have money left over.
Theoretically, yes. I mean, there's a little bit to it, but yes.
Yeah. That would create so many jobs. That would create so much work in this state. And then we could actually get the people they're wanting to bring into the state. Oh, yeah, us that work remotely, that are independent business owners or independent contractors that can literally work from anywhere. And they don't even think about us. And for him to be taking credit for something that he was not even a part of is bullshit.
Which I'm curious because we're quite a ways out from that original grant. And I'm curious. I'm really curious. Because that was part of the West Virginia CARES Act, wasn't it? No. Was it? What was that one? And because I totally forget. It was the one where if you moved to West Virginia, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So was it work from home? Is that how they worded it? There it is. So yeah, that's from Business Insider. Ascend West Virginia is what the program's called. I just want to see where they're at. Like, how many people actually took this up? Hey, Mary. Oh, and then Kathy has a question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, Kathy 72862. I don't know if you can reply to this, but does the system SS keep me disabled?
Yes. The SSI, please, let's make sure that we remember the I, keeps you disabled.
Well, it's sad when the Ascend West Virginia site doesn't actually let us know how many people have been picked up on this.
Right.
Just looking to see if we have numbers yet for what this has done. Oh, so we are up to 53 class members, quote unquote, is what they're calling them, hailing from as far away as Berlin, Germany, and from 21 different U.S. states and the District of Columbia. More applicants will be coming from California than any other state. Right. And the average annual income of those selected is approximately $105,000. So, and many of them are bringing their family with them. For 110 people will relocate to the Morgantown area. Oh, yeah. More people in Morgan. I mean, yeah, that's just, it's still sad. It's still sad.
Right.
But yeah, I was just curious where that program was. Like, I'm wondering what the long-term numbers are going to show. If it's just going to be a bunch of people who relocate temporarily, take the cash, and move on. Right. Or if it's actually going to be a meaningful thing.
Right. I think it'll be interesting. I think it should piss off everyone that works remotely already in this state.
Well, yeah, and especially the fact that you're relocating people to Morgantown.
Exactly.
Like, Morgantown is a pretty good gem for this.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about the realities throughout the rest of the state.
Yeah.
Like, and not just like Charleston, Huntington, Beckley, like all of our cities.
Let's move them to Welch.
Yeah, send them to Welch. See if you can work from home in Welch. Like, that's a pioneer.
Right.
Working from home in Morgantown, West Virginia isn't really a struggle.
No.
That's not really a big struggle bus right there.
Well, come on down here.
Yeah. Let's see. Mary has a question as well. Ooh, and it's more for me.
Right.
Or maybe you will run it both ways.
Okay.
So Mary 11/28/57 had a nasty problem with my ISP deleting my mail and its history. They recreated my user account, but not my sent folder and other important data. I use webmail. Will it be a hassle to get them to do a successful restore? Thank you. And tack on to that, I dislike Mercury in retrograde, says Mary.
Mary, I've told you about webmail and how problematic it is and how you should stick with Outlook because it can do so many things. I feel like it will be a hassle. I think it'll be a problem. And there may be mail that you never get back.
Yeah. Now, on a totally techie answer, pretty much I'm just going to say you're screwed. And that's the be all end all of it is mail from or mail services from your ISP are a nice freebie. It's not that they cannot restore it. It's more so that it's extra effort that they really don't want to go through. Effectively, they create backups for the sole reason of everyone loses their stuff. Everything goes down. they're far less concerned with individual users. You generally will not get the same level of support from your ISP and their email account that they provide you as you will your, say, web hosting provider, in terms of you are running a business and you have your @mydomain.com email system, or if you're running a more traditional exchange server for your company. That IT department concept, yeah, we're going to restore your stuff. Please don't, Oh, I'm not saying it wasn't their mistake. No. I'm saying that, quite frankly, they don't care. At the end of the day, they really, really don't care. At all. Like, oh, they are your web hosting provider and you've been with them. Okay, now that's different. So less internet service provider situation than it is your actual web hosting provider. Like, be very careful, because if you're talking about that free web space you get with, like, Suddenlink, Frontier, Comcast, Xfinity, whatever, yeah, that's very different. Okay, so it is less of an Xfinity Comcast situation. That's very different. Then yeah, that's basically go knock them upside the head till they get it fixed.
Yeah, I
You
still
have that right as a consumer. Like, totally get there. Sorry, I was taking it from the tech perspective, and if it's like your Frontier, your whatever, your web, like your internet access for your home is, yeah, no, they don't give a shit. They really won't care. But when you're dealing with the more business services, oh yeah, that's a knock them upside the head until they get fixed, because that's crap. But yeah, still be careful with webmail. Like, that's always a little dangerous.
Right.
Just because you are so reliant on the provider. And not every provider really pays attention and necessarily does what they need to do to keep everything running right. So, alrighty. And then Ashley has a question.
Okay.
So Ashley 82991 asking for Sunny, do I get approved for unemployment? Or does he? And if so, when does it come?
I feel it does come. However, I think that it'll probably not come till after Ashley takes a job, and I would say that's probably 6 to 9 days you get paperwork. After that, it takes about 2 weeks to get approved. But again, you guys are going to have to be on top of this. Like, they're not going to be nice about it. They're not going to be holding your hand. If the due date for your check-in form is Wednesday, then you need to make sure it's at Wednesday at 8 o'clock. That form is in their server, in their hand, whatever. I think they're just going to be a problematical situation.
Oh, everyone hates when it's like that.
Right.
And unemployment, like, having to file for unemployment already sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no one who's ever enjoyed that experience.
Right.
And then to turn around and, like, it also has to be difficult and tedious and hateful and ugh.
Right.
Like, ugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Well, since we are speaking of North Carolina, essentially, the hospital system has 175 employees available.
Do what?
Sending you now, darling.
Yeah, we just talked about that in the barista chat.
Uh-huh.
Midstream, guys. First time I see an article.
Yep.
Oh.
And that's because you read them and overanalyze them, and I want your first response to it.
Well, sometimes I really like having that time to go, well, what all do I think?
Right.
Because sometimes I get a little nuanced, and it's like, nah, there's more to it.
Yeah. So Monday morning, one of the largest hospital systems in North Carolina suddenly had 175 vacancies.
Well, they have a lot more than that going on. So Novant Health, the North Carolina hospital system, has made the vaccine mandatory. They've suspended 375 employees across 15 hospitals and 800 clinics last week for non-compliance. But over a 5-day period, 200 employees agreed to get the vaccine. So apparently that was the last push they needed to figure it the fuck out.
Right.
The remaining 175 have subsequently been fired.
Right.
So that's wow.
Mm-hmm.
So Novant Health set a deadline of September 15th, and they pretty much kept that.
Exactly. And I think we're going to be seeing more of this across everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And to put this in perspective, this is out of 35,000 employees.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah. This isn't even like a lunching for them.
Yeah, so 375 employees with a problem is a little over 1%. Literally, right. Little over 1%. I call that good. Ashley says, oh, of course, my health system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. Oh, and Ashley's looking at Wake. Oh, if you're looking at Wake, I've got a friend I'll hook you up with. Y'all will love each other.
Mm-hmm.
You will. You'll be best buds forever.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's just sad though. Like that's 175 people who legitimately think refusing to be vaccinated is worth it.
Yeah.
To lose their job.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Well, it's like, did they not expect this when the flu vaccine came out? We had this then. Did they not expect this when mRNA came out? We had to then. We have a global pandemic. What part of medical science does not hit your brain?
Well, more importantly, these employees have had July, August, and half of September to comply.
Right.
It's not like they said this on Monday and turned around and went, screw you on Tuesday.
Right.
Like, you had time to get your ducks in a row. I really would have thought that those, if you were so hardcore against doing this, you had ample opportunity to find another job. Like, I can't feel bad for these people. You knew what was coming. You had months to prepare. You have allowed this. I'm just wondering if state of North Carolina is going to find this a voluntary voluntarily quit versus a firing.
Well, here is the thing, and this is what we have seen in the past. Yes. State of West Virginia found when the nurses refused to get the flu vaccine. Yes, I got it. I got it when it came out because I didn't want H1N1. It was kind of nasty and malarial, and I was working 16 hours a day. My immune system was already suppressed enough. Yeah. If you didn't get it, you it's insubordination, and you voluntarily quit. You get no benefits. And if you are a licensed holding member, meaning you're registered in one of the state databases, this goes against their license.
Well, Sandy asked the question, will they find jobs elsewhere? That's questionable.
Yeah.
at least within their chosen medical field profession, that's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
But now I was kind of thinking that already. North Carolina has some very tight ideas of what it means to be fired.
Right.
And exactly what like the differential between voluntarily quit and firing is. Like it's got to be old school fired, and your employer better like you and want you to get your unemployment if you're going to get unemployment.
Right.
That's the sad reality of North Carolina. Yeah. Like they take that employment at will thing real fucking serious.
All right. And what we're seeing out of the medical field, no, they won't. No, they will not find employment in their medical field. And here is why. Because I will say probably within 6 months, if they are a registered nurse, a CNA, a med tech, whatever, all those have licensing boards. It will probably go into effect to the licensing board that you are required to maintain your vaccines.
Yeah, but Mary, in North Carolina, the hearing that they'll have is a kangaroo court.
Right.
Like, North Carolina is so stacked in the employer's favor.
Right.
Like, you just cannot. If that employer shows up and you know a 35,000 employee having company going to show up, yeah, they're going to fight it. They're going to be like, voluntarily quit.
Yeah, well, they're going to be voluntarily fired.
Yeah, they weren't laid off.
Right.
That's not how this is going to be viewed at all. And North Carolina will kangaroo your court ass straight out.
Right.
Like, have a nice day, no benefits for you. Next.
Right. And guys, I'm going to tell you, you are going to see a lot more of these news stories. We're going to see a lot because it has been mandated by OSHA, who has the right to do so. Any company over 100 employees, it is required to have a mandate.
Yeah, dismissal with cause.
Yeah,
North Carolina, like, if you are fired for cause, you are unemployment ineligible.
Yep.
If you voluntarily, no matter how, like, non-voluntary it was, like, if you get that, you're either going to quit or we're going to fire you. Basically, you're getting told, no matter which way you go, you're screwed.
Right.
Because if they have to fire you, it's going to be for cause. If you voluntarily quit, it just supposedly saves you some face in terms of your next hire. And immediately gets rid of any unemployment claim.
Right.
Like, that's all it really does, is it saves them the effort to show up.
Right.
And say, nah, we fired your ass. And here's why.
Right.
And the causes are pretty wide open in North Carolina. Like, it's not like you have to really be a bad employee.
Right.
To get fired in North Carolina and not get unemployment. Like, you can just get fired because they don't like you.
Exactly.
Or
and
you're
Virginia's in that structure too. A lot of states have moved to right to work. And yeah, read Sharon's question.
Shannon's comment? My workplace said that if you didn't get vaccinated and you get COVID, then you don't get sick pay for your time off. And realistically, you shouldn't.
No.
I mean, that's kind of follow the bouncy ball.
Right.
And I'm kind of questioning how many of those employers are going to maintain your benefits while you're hospitalized. I mean, as ugly as that sounds, and as many other situations, as I would totally fight for someone to keep their benefits, their health insurance, while they're sick. Like, if you are diagnosed with cancer and you're missing work and everything, definitely don't turn off someone's benefits while they're fighting cancer. But on the other side, if you legitimately did everything to avoid the opportunity to not get sick, and then, oh, surprise, you got sick. Yeah. that's like, I don't really care if you lose your benefits right now.
Right.
Like, you brought this house of cards down on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
actually, short-term disability is a different claim.
mm-hmm.
Okay, short-term disability is through an insurance company, not your company.
Right. Well, and then it also depends upon how the short-term disability sees the situation.
Right.
Like that, it's not all guaranteed. Like, they like to talk about it like it's a nice thing that will, like, that Affleck duck did a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, as in convincing people short-term disability or short-term insurance was important. And it's not that it isn't. It's just there's a lot of exceptions to when it kicks in.
Exactly.
A lot of things it goes, that's not a disability.
Right. So, if you've got PTO time of, say, 6 months saved up and you get COVID, your employer has a right to deny to pay that out. It's just like they have a right to deny your vacation time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow,
I think it's going to be ugly.
I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be really hard for people that want to fight this fight.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I do think and moreover, I would think that right now the way it should be viewed is these are employers that are desperately trying to get you to do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please do the thing. Like, we will carrot you all we can, but at some point we will also take that stick and whap you upside the head until it is so not convenient for you to be stupid anymore.
Right.
Get the effing vaccine or find somewhere else to be.
Right.
Like, if you're really that against getting the vaccination, then now's the time to start your own business. Get out.
Right. And I'm going to throw this in here since I am, by state order, a religious leader. No, I am not giving anybody who even approaches me, and nobody has yet, exemption papers. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wicca believes in science. COVID vaccine is science.
Absolutely. Kathy, that was the point they were basically making, is that, or I believe Shannon was making, was that yes, they'll absolutely take care of you and treat you right if you got vaccinated and still get sick. It's the people who willfully decide we ain't gonna bother that they're like, well, you can sink or swim on your own. Like, we're not gonna support that. Yeah, Shannon reconfirmed, yeah, if you get vaccinated and get sick, you will get sick pay.
Right.
So, yes. Like, that was how I was taking it, and I totally get that one. All righty, and Mary has another question.
Awesome, and I'm loading you up your next one.
Oh, okay, my next article? Oh, my God. Welcome to the gauntlet.
Welcome to getting a non-can response.
Oh, come on. I am not that bad.
Yes, you are.
I am not.
All right, go for it.
All righty. So, with Mary's question, Mary, 11/28/57, I need to communicate with SE in the Washington, D.C. area. Will SE help me and cooperate? I need data from SE for my medical treatment here in New York City.
Yes, I do feel they'll cooperate. I don't think that that'll be a problem. I think the only problem is finding the records, and they'll be able to do that.
Oh, really? I was having such a good evening, and you had to bring his name up.
Oh, we don't have to bring up his name. We just have to bring up the lawsuits. And this is
kind of hard not to leave it, or it's kind of hard to leave his name out.
No, you can call him Dingle McFuckstick.
Okay, so Dingle McFuckstick loses case over ex-aide Manigault Newman's tell-all book. If you can't figure out who we are talking about, he still thinks he's president as a delusion. You know, so Omarosa wrote a blistering 2018 book about, I'm sorry, what was his name again that we used?
Dingle McFuckstick. That's
Dingle
my favorite one
McFuckstick.
so far.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was a non-disclosure agreement that Dingle McFuckstick was seeking to enforce against Newman, that was so vague as to be unenforceable, is basically where that ended up.
Yeah.
So the book Unhinged, which painted a unflattering portrait of Dingle McFuckstick, claiming that he used racial slurs and was not as sharp as he had been during his time as star of the reality TV shows. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he didn't have writers for this for the 4 years of reality TV we had. However, this really points out something, and it points out something really interesting, is that his lawyers were so shitty, they can't write a simple, you know, hardcore lockdown DVA.
Well, yeah, like non-disclosure agreements, they have a purpose, and the way Dingle McFuckstick was using them isn't what they're really meant for.
Right.
Non-disclosure has a lot more to do about businesses and business information, and things that would be considered trade secrets or proprietary to a company or things like that. They're not really meant to cover people's personal lives and whether or not you can talk about them at all. You know, not to say I've never signed an NDA. I've laughed at a couple and went, that's cute. Like, there's no way that's enforceable. But you go right ahead. If that's what I've got to do to get hired, you like, I'll sign it. Like, that's cute.
Well, we have our own NDA. We
do use an NDA, and it's very limited.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it has more to do with, look, this is business information that we are giving with you and discussing, and no, like, I'm not giving my services away for free.
Right.
This is totally not about you being able to sign up and pay us and then turn around and reuse it.
Right. But no, this is what gets me. Okay, our MDA works very well for the things that we want to cover. Our MDA is nothing big.
No.
You're telling me that a supposed billionaire, millionaire, whatever he is, I say not even a hundredaire, lawyers can't write a decent MDA.
Again, some of it may also concern the time period.
Yeah.
As well. Yes, Dingle McFucksticks. Lawyers cannot write an NDA. But also the time period in which they were trying to do this was still like a new frontier for NDAs. And a lot of lawyers, I think, even when they wrote them, knew that they were going to be unenforceable.
Right.
And I think it was more so the hope that no one would try it.
Right.
That it would act as like a safety.
Right.
Like, it doesn't destroy the gun that someone can, you know, proverbially shoot at you with information. But it does make them think there's a possible horrible outcome for them if they do it.
Right.
So at the time, I think a lot of lawyers were going ahead and doing it, thinking that, well, you know, the idiots won't know better.
Right.
The idiots won't try it. Because a lot of the people these were imposed upon were generally people you wouldn't think would be able to contest them or want to, or would more importantly be scared enough of potentially going to court, losing millions. That like housekeepers and assistants and aides and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, small employees, that would be fearful of multi-million-dollar verdicts against them. That when you start throwing around words like 150,000 for every disclosure or whatever, like these people may not make $150,000 in the rest of their life, let alone have it to pay out anywhere.
Right.
So
right, and this ain't the only legal suit Dingle this fuck stick has lost this week.
Oh, hashtag losing.
Yes. All right, but anyhow, I do have to give credit to that title for him. That is from the Omaha Cat Lady.
Dingleberry McFuckstick.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Right.
Oh.
All right, so Devin's got a question.
Oh, Devin has a question. Yay. So Devin 31678, is my friend's tarot reading on me correct about meeting someone by Halloween?
You know your friend's tarot deck is probably biased, but let's take a look and see what's in the love area, Devin. Ooh, finding your balance, making some judgment calls, stressing yourself too much. That's what you've been doing. Moving ahead, you'll find that balance checks out. I would say they have brown hair. I would say they're probably medium height. You don't currently know them, but they kind of approach you aggressively. I won't go by Halloween, but I'll say you'll be happy by Thanksgiving.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, and Mary points out that a company asked her late husband to sign a bogus NDA for a remote job, and literally they sent it over to their legal plan attorney. Like, we're talking prepaid legal here, to check it out, and effectively the lawyer laughed. I can understand that. I've seen a few, just reading it on my own, I'm going, that's so damn vague. What do you think you can cover with this?
Exactly.
I'm like, sue me. That's where I've been with a couple. It's been like, sue me. Fucking sue me. You're going to have way more problems out of the lawsuit and the fact that you sued me than you're going to have out of what I said unchecked.
Right.
So, yeah, it's like I have one that I still jokingly refer to as, it's a company I can't discuss because there was an NDA. Meanwhile, I will very much tell you my opinion on their systems without a problem.
Right.
Like, no, it doesn't control me that much.
Yep. Well, as we know, winter's approaching.
Yes.
I'm highly going to recommend, if you live in West Virginia, Texas, Louisiana, you need a backup plan.
Though, you sent that article earlier today to me to decipher. I don't know that West Virginia, you should even bother this year with putting away your patio set.
Well, I get that, but I'm still saying, and the Willy Worms have confirmed, that our power grid is third world. And Governor Abbott is even worse. Like, they may even be turn of the century, one cold snap, because they have, over the past month, been told to set their ACs at 78 degrees when they are awake, to set it at 82 degrees when they are asleep, and at 85 if they are not home. They have not been allowed to run dryers. They're supposed to turn off and unplug appliances if they aren't using them. That tells me that their electrical system is very unsteady.
Well, it's not so much that it's unsteady. It's, I think, a really tone-deaf response to everyone's upset with current power prices.
Mm-hmm.
In that, for a very long time, the ERCOT system sounded great. If and only if everything was cheap and easy.
Right.
And you could legitimately shop it around and change your power company every month, and you could always get these pennies rates.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, and as we saw last February, it's all great and well until everything starts to go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And once it went to hell, once there was more demand than supply, suddenly that unregulated system pretty much is a setup for exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that unregulated system, it's like, paying $1,000 for a sheet of plywood in Florida in hurricane season.
Right.
With the hurricane bearing down upon you. It's ridiculous pricing. No one can afford it.
Right.
Quite frankly. And the very few that can, it's still ridiculous.
Right.
But to those that actually get stuck with the bills, the average people just trying to live their lives, it is very much like being at the turn of the century, last century, the 1900s.
Exactly.
In terms of power and resources, which is unacceptable.
Right.
Like, I thought we covered this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was understood by people that, this is why every other state has created a utilities commission to define what a utility is and to protect people from companies trying to exploit their customers for something that isn't a choice to have anymore.
Right.
That unfortunately we have a standard of living for human beings on this planet, which now includes electricity.
Right. And
why this is hard.
Well, I don't feel that it's hard, but I feel like that he has made millions off this state. And I feel like he continues to make money off this state, and it looks even more so going to be a problem, especially if we have another cold snap like they've had before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Louisiana, your power grid has been damaged so many times. Your main power system to New Orleans was in the Mississippi River not 2 weeks ago. Now, check me if I'm wrong, but the last time I checked, water and power and electric don't go together.
No, generally not. You really don't want your power system underwater.
Right.
Generally a bad idea.
Yeah.
Generally.
Right. In West Virginia, we've seen that a good strong breeze will knock our power out just because we're in West Virginia.
Yeah. A large part of that in West Virginia, I do have to say, I really do hate that we have not gone underground.
Right.
Like, we go underground for everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we still have an above ground power grid?
Right.
I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I know that there are a lot of people that think that this is the worst way to have a power system, because if you are simply coming from those transmission lines and running one tiny little pipe, just running some base conduit to run a power grid, yes, it is absolutely a nightmare to fish all that cable through.
Right.
However, if you do this intelligently, and it is expensive, but if you treat it like it is part of an entire underground infrastructure system, you would actually have a better setup. And moreover, we would not have had the problems we had back last summer, not this summer, but last summer, when our utilities, quote unquote, had to be moved because the road was expanding.
Right.
it's ridiculous to me.
Right.
Start from the beginning with an underground-based system. Yes, it's going to be expensive, but it's going to be a system that will get us more than 100 years down the road.
Right.
Instead of through next winter.
Mm-hmm.
If we're lucky.
Right.
No, Ashley, would not mess up the coal at all.
Nah.
Coal seams are miles below ground.
Right.
What we're talking about in terms of infrastructure is mere feet below ground.
36 inches to be exact.
To get below, well, 32 technically to get below the West Virginia freeze line, the frost line, which is the amount of soil you have to go down before a really cold winter. The differential between ground that will freeze and turn solid, and ground that will not, that will stay above freezing.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Mary loves West Virginia. We're glad someone does. That's all I can say. It's not that I don't love the state. It's not that I don't think the state's beautiful. It's not that I don't think the state has some wonderful people. It's not that I don't think that the state has many beautiful resources and wonderful resources and opportunities. I just think that a large part of the people in charge of all of this fall into the category of Dingleberry McFucksticks,
right,
who cannot, for the life of them, do anything but exploit this state like so many others have, and all of the people in it, and make sure that all of the people in it continue to suffer.
Right.
Political labor pains, my God, the child is stillborn, Mary. Like, we have been going through labor pains for over 50 years. Like, at some point, you just do a C-section and cut the thing out, because at this point, it is a statue.
Yep. All right. So Mary's got a question. We'll take that on.
All right. So Mary has a question. 11/28/57. JLB is a highly eligible bachelor. Would he be open to attending the theater with me and wearing a suit or rented tux? I am dying to celebrate our birthdays in style. I'm thinking positive. Mary is a working professional with professional income.
I feel that he would enjoy going to the theater with you as long as it was a play he was interested in seeing. So don't take him to, like, Macbeth.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, but West Virginia is not Alabama. You know, that's what we've been. We've been trying to hold on to that one for a long time. We really have. Like, there's got to be a state worse than us. Right. And Alabama has often been it, but we are very much.
I have to say this: we're in better position than Texas is.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. But yeah, no on Macbeth. Really? Why does everyone hate Macbeth?
He hates Macbeth. I like it.
Macbeth is fun.
Macbeth is a good one.
I mean, I will say I'm not a big fan of the full production witches scene.
What?
Like, no, I'm not a fan. No, because there's a movie version of the play, or a video version of a play. And it is very graphic.
Yes.
And they really casted the witches well, as described. That was a little horrifying.
Well, Macbeth isn't my favorite Shakespeare piece. Now, if we want to discuss favorite Shakespeare pieces, what's yours, Joe?
Oh, favorite Shakespeare is Midsummer Night's Dream. It is.
That's cute.
What?
I like Henry VIII.
Oh, okay. I could see that one.
Yeah.
You know, Midsummer Night's Dream is good. It's light. It's lightish.
It doesn't have a lot of political stuff behind it.
Well, I know, but not everything's got to be, sometimes it's just fun.
Right, and some of his plays were fun, but a lot of them were political stuff, and it's reading into the innuendos. And I love the scene out of Macbeth with the three witches. I think it should be done as graphically as it was created in the show. And when I say as graphically, they used real animal parts.
Alrighty then.
What?
Aw, Mary says back in '98, my son played the king in Midsummer Night's Dream.
Mm-hmm.
Aw. Very cool, very cool. But yeah. Sandy says, ew. I know that is about the witches scene.
I know.
Or the body parts. I'm not sure which. Maybe both. Maybe just the whole topic of Macbeth. And a lot of people do have that reaction to Macbeth.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah. No.
All right. Your turn for any hot takes.
Oh, gosh. Oh. No. See, no. Okay. I like the reason that Shannon likes Romeo and Juliet. Because let's face it, some teens would be that freaking dramatic about their parents not letting them date. As long as you start with that, I'm okay with people liking Romeo and Juliet. Now, people that start at, it's just so romantical. It's like, no, it's a 1 week relationship that results in 6 deaths. It's not romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, Jesus.
7 deaths, but okay.
Do what now?
7 deaths.
Oh, fair, but it's not romantic. Oh, ooh, good question from Ashley. Any Britney updates?
Well, there are some Britney updates. Now, tomorrow is the big Britney day. This is when she goes to court. Currently, of course, we have the 12th accounting going on. Then we have a motion to suspend and remove Mr. Spears from being her conservative. They've added a new suggested conservator to wrap it up. We know the end plan is to get her out of this, but we can't do it together. Third, there is some battlement. So Brittany's father, as y'all know, went and filed a thing going that, well, fine, let's just get rid of the conservatorship altogether. Brittany's counsel has not opposed that and actually says we agree to that. That's what our long game plan is. But first, we have to get rid of you. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. If it is major news, I may go live and talk about it. It depends on who else is doing lives about it. And also, there is a lot of different positions, different things going on. There's a lot of back and forth. And we'll be seeing how much news we get out because, of course, we still have not one to get in there. So what's interesting is James Spears says Britney Spears' estate is at risk, claims replacement is unqualified. He's quite qualified. And you don't get to choose, James. And reminds the court that Jamie is an alcoholic and gambling addiction. So I think it'll be interesting once we get into those books.
Yeah, I think and I'm sorry, I'll say it forever, you don't take down organized crime for the organized crime. You take it down through the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't run a criminal activity and file your taxes properly at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't.
Right.
You never can. No one ever has been able to do it.
Right.
You have to lie. Which comes with, large, horrible penalties.
Right. places to be watching is The Guardian and apparently TMZ, because TMZ both are getting documents before Britney Spears' own lawyer gets them. So you tell me that isn't going to be there.
Oh, but no, I'm not really finding any good news for hot takes, though.
Okay. Well, we can kind of back up and talk about it. For those that do not know, and we were talking about, we were listening to this in the car, and I brought it up that I'd done hot tea about that. The tiny T.I. and Tiny case is over with.
Oh, very fun.
And they will not be facing charges in LA due to expired statute of limitations. They also found that the case was dismissed for multiple reasons.
Yeah. Oh, Ashley brings up the R. Kelly case is over too.
Yes, R. Kelly is in jail for life, although I will say he will probably appeal in about, I'd say 3 years. He's going to appeal and possibly get out, unfortunately.
I take this back. I found an article.
Awesome.
I think this is, I don't know, is as much as a hot take as probably an article worth mentioning.
Okay.
Sexual harassment in school, children pressured for nudes. This comes, of course, from BBC UK. Allegations of sexual assault among classmates are being investigated by police after more than 90 schools in Wales were named in an online campaign. Some told BBC Wales, quote, it was common for girls as young as 11 to be pressured into sending nudes or receive unwanted explicit images from boys.
Yeah, but here's the problem with this. This is the sexual culture they're being brought up in.
And I think that's probably the whole bigger thing there.
Yes.
Is we're no longer talking about, we are talking about a technology that connects people all around the world and down the street in mere milliseconds. That provides all the resources you need to produce audio, video, and text at any moment. That is literally attached to your hand, and an entire generation growing up with that in a legal environment that still pretty much acts like we're on 35 millimeter film, Polaroids, and VHS cassette.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other part of this, and this was a news story that I was actually pumping for probably Friday. But did you know Instagram now gets to file the taxes under the 424 section?
Do what now?
Instagram has been declared adult entertainment.
Oh, the Instagram's got to be loving that.
Yeah, well, a study came out saying that Instagram was hurtful for children's mental health.
I don't know that I totally disagree with that. And here's what I'm saying. Instagram has been walking a very fine line with allowable content. In trying to go with only the artistic, the tasteful, the non-pornographic forms of sexually suggestive and nude, but not obscene They've been walking a thin line there for a very long time, and it's been a very popular site, especially for people that are ultimately displaying unrealistic bodies.
Right.
And a lot of photoshopped images that do unfortunately create a lot of really bad ideas of what one's body should look like.
Right. But what I'm saying here is that is a parent's decision.
Is it though?
Yes.
Here's my problem with that.
Okay, you go for your side.
Well, here's my problem with that is, again, we're still treating kids online like we're in an age of VHS cassette, 35 millimeter film and or Polaroids, and that AOL dial-up.
Right.
I think at some point we do have to abandon the idea, as repulsive as the sentence may be, that we're going to be able to shelter kids online like we did 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right.
Even that our world has changed. Our technology has changed. Our usage of technology has changed. And the rate in which new is appearing, it's a constant bubble up of new things. Like if Instagram shuts down tomorrow, there will be 3 more or 5 more things that pop up to fill the void. Facebook shuts down. There will be multiple that bubble up. Whatever it is, technology-wise, this is all, there's no quick, easy shutdown and fix it. We've hit a point in which there's just going to be more things that bubble up to replace it. The notion that as parents you are able to control this at this point, we're talking about a very different thing from the old school advice of put your family computer in your dining room or your living room so that mom and dad can keep an eye on what your kids are doing. Most of these kids have a device that is personally theirs that they carry with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
I don't know that it's going to be as simple to just be like, parents need to stop this.
No,
I don't know how the parent controls it.
I think it's the parent's responsibility to decide if a child can be on Instagram, any social media. Also, they need to be having the adult conversations with their children. This is acceptable. We talk to our children. This is acceptable behavior in this house. This is not acceptable behavior in this house or when you go to visit somebody. We need to teach them what is acceptable and unacceptable online. We need to, parents, because I'm not a parent, my children are grown, thank goddess, need to be involved in their life instead of just flipping a button like, yep, you can have another 2 hours on your phone. They need to be instilling values that match their values at their ages. I think that, we are still in the 1800s treating children as, 13, 16, 12, whatever, as indentured service until they're 18. And keeping them wrapped in bubble wrap. And I don't think it's ever going to be worth it. I don't think it's ever going to work in this culture. I don't think it's going to work in this time. I think, if anything, we're stunning our children's growth, their mental maturity, and their emotional maturity by not giving them the tools to make the decisions.
I think it's definitely that. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to force good parenting. And that's what that ultimately comes down to, is just good parenting.
Right.
It doesn't mean the child doesn't ever do anything wrong. It just means, one, they knew what they were doing was wrong when they did it, and they need, to know when to be like, I fucked up. Help.
Right.
And have the ability to say, I fucked up. Help.
Right.
but we're still living in this bubble that you're going to control them.
Right.
From cradle to 18.
Right.
It's already not working.
Right.
It has already failed.
Right.
And there are so many situations that people are running into now because we draw this hard wall, we think, between adulthood and adult apps and adult entertainment and adult everything else and the rest of apps and internet and whatever, without realizing that we have people that are not babies.
Right.
They're not babies.
No.
They are soon to be adults.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly approaching the adulthood finish line.
Mm-hmm.
But they're stuck with, you know, this like Disney playground to live in for a few more years or months that doesn't meet their needs and ultimately in many ways forces them into adult spaces to quit. One, and I say force, that's not exactly it. It becomes more alluring to enter those adult spaces. To in terms of not being treated like children. At which point we have a major problem.
Right.
Because they're not supposed to be there. But the only ability we have to control that is to ask politely that someone be 18 or older or whatever age they need to be in their place of residence to interact with this app or service or whatever. And that's all we got.
Right.
We've tried credit cards. That was a fail. We have tried talking heavily about some form of online adult identification system. That comes with a lot of issues. With a lot of people that are legitimately adults not wanting you knowing that much about them.
Right.
Quite frankly, they like their anonymity.
Right.
And not being tracked, more importantly. I can also support that idea that if you're a grown adult properly using, you know, adult services, then no, do as thou want. Don't harm others, but do as thou want. Explore what you want to explore, think what you want to think, see what you want to see. But then we have the middling problem with people who are, and I'm going to stop calling them children for a moment, but people who are in between. They're older than the Disney web. They are younger than the adult internet. And we don't have a space for them to exist as that in-between person because of all the legal ramifications that come with that.
Right.
I don't know that anyone has a good answer. I'm not proclaiming to. I'm talking about the problem.
Well, this is what gets me, and gets me in general. On average, in West Virginia in the 1950s, most 10-year-old boys owned at least a rifle. One rifle. Most 10-year-old boys had the wherewithal to take that rifle and go hunting and take it to school or whatever. We are now 71 years later. Most of those boys are now dead. And we have children that aren't getting the teachings pulled together, that cannot make a decision of, no, I don't want to send a nude to you, dude. You're an idiot. Block. No, I don't want to be in this little clique. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And it's also because we do have an adult world that even if they're not on a truly adult internet or their experience is not like adult pornographic, they are still exposed to an adult world.
Right.
That has normalized sending nudes, that has normalized a lot of different things, that conceptually they feel that sort of this is how you exist in the 21st century.
Right.
You know, you either have a dick pic and you respond to dick pics with boob pics, or more dick pics, or more boob pics, however that works out for you. Or, you know, any combination therein, as being so normalized as to what it means to be in a relationship in the 21st century. Meanwhile, there's this whole underlying, you know, legal concept going on that trying to even communicate almost has to start with, fundamentally, I need you to not do that because of the risks it poses for everyone else.
Right.
Like, the risks for you are one thing, but then there's the whole underpinning legal concepts that create a problem for the rest of the world, for being a service that has that material on it, for being a network that transmits that material, for being, you know, unfortunately part of this, as Mary called it, teen underground.
Right.
All of the components that are being used to communicate that are unfortunately liable, or fortunately, however you choose to think about it, are stuck in this liability loop.
Right.
Of, I can't be a part of this.
Right.
Like, one, just the optics of it are horrific. You know, the minute someone calls your service, you know, a site for pedophiles, you're pretty much sunk.
Right.
Even when that's not the goal, the intent, or the everything else. And it creates a lot more concern for others.
Right.
For the parents that are now simultaneously tasked with trying to control this.
Right.
What do you do? Like, I'm not trying to say that I have a magical answer for any of this. But I think we do, as a society, have to talk about the problem. Which is, we have a middling group of people quickly approaching adulthood that are expected to live on the playground of Kittyland until they are a specific age. And then all of a sudden, the gate magically opens and they are free to roam the adult world of services.
Right, but we've seen this before. We've seen this in other instances. Guns isn't the only thing. Can you imagine an 18-year-old that doesn't know how to count back their change? Can you imagine an 18-year-old that doesn't understand what a dollar is, or what a pound is, or what a cent is, or whatever your money consciences are? Can you imagine an 18-year-old that doesn't understand what a bank is? These are conversations that parents are not having with their kids.
And I would point out that it's because a lot of people are so divorced from their money, they don't understand it really anymore themselves. And especially on that one, is a large... When you think about the parent of an 18-year-old today, they were an adult 18, at least, or hopefully, as of 2003,
right.
2002, somewhere in there. In that almost 20-year span, a lot of people have moved to a cashless existence. Their money makes no more sense to them in terms like dollars and cents and quarters and nickels than it would for me to try to understand, you know, inherently pesos. And I've traveled to a country that uses pesos.
It's a conversion.
I don't understand it.
How? Okay.
I don't.
I get that. I understand you don't. I'm going to skip that.
Okay.
But parents need to be active in their children's life. The cell phone and the tablet and the internet is not the TV of the 80s. It is not your babysitter. You need to have real conversations about, no, we don't engage you. This is why you don't engage in this. This is why this and this is not reality. You know, Kim K's ass is not reality. It is airbrushed to the hilt. And here, let me show you how to do that on your phone. See this app? You open this app up and you stream here and you strike here. Having these real conversations, these real idea conversations, is what I see parents not doing. You just tell them no. You don't do that. You're not allowed to have that. No, you don't want that. No, you don't need that. You don't explain the reasons why. Good luck, because I'll say at least one of them's busted and they'll have fun draining that sand out. Just saying, she's twerked too much.
Yeah, Ashley was saying removing those, that she's removing those butt implants.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And then Mary has a comment, but I want to make sure you finish before I hop on Mary's comment.
Okay.
Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, just making sure. Mary, I'm going to say something that is probably one of those things that gets me a lot of flame. There is no such thing as safe sex. I think, honestly, truly, we fucked up the minute we tried to create the mere concept of safe sex. Now, before you react, here are the rest of my thought. We have put forward this idea that there is a right way to have sex, i.e. condoms, and a wrong way to have sex, which is without them. We have taught that in a manner in which you either do everything right or you are a complete and total failure. And what we have seen come of that are people that mess up one time, or that in one situation make one decision that ends up totally changing the sex that they end up having, because they end up taking in the message that only disgusting, nasty people have unsafe sex. And once you do it wrong once, you are therefore not having safe sex. It becomes an in for a penny, in for a pound. Because what it does not teach is how to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And to take responsibility for those decisions, and to understand that in every sexual encounter, you have the power, the authority, the right, whatever word you need to hear there, to make your own independent decision in that one moment.
Right. And see, that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying about the internet and everything else. Mm-hmm. If that's what we're not teaching, children do not know. Children do not know how to make decisions. Do not know how to look at a paycheck stub and know what they should be paid, and if it's right. Do not know how to make decisions about, do I buy the new flashy shoes or do I put food on my table? All right, so we have one last final question, and then we're wrapping up for the night.
All right, Ann Ocampo, 1979, who is my spirit guide.
Well, the first answer I got to there is which one. I'm gonna go with the main one, and the main one in general is Samuel. And it looks to me that Samuel's trying to work on you and getting yourself to express yourself. Okay. All right. So let's flip over banners, guys. We will be back Friday night.
We will. And I do want to respond to something Mary said, just real quick. A youngster needs to be mentored by a parent. Absolutely, 100%. The problem is mentoring anyone and doing it properly is very, very hard. And it is so much easier to yell, scream, punish, hit, abuse, someone until you get the behavior that you want out of them, even if that behavior is uninformed and done out of blind compliance. Yep. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of parenting has ended up.
Right.
So, yes.
Sandy, I'm glad you read my code of ethics. That's something I've been preaching in this field for a while now, that we need to form and unify, and other people need to have this a code of ethics if they're working in my position of life, and to understand what that and in general.
Absolutely. Ethics are important.
They're highly important.
But yes, we do want to thank our Patreons. We love our lovely baristas. You guys are so amazing. So we do want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryant, Ashley Gist, Shannon C, Shannon D, the ever lovely Lady Gwendolyn, and Charles Shaw. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at PCSPnetwork.com.
All right. Thank you, darling. Just some housekeeping stuff. Baristas, your Zoom, if you missed it, will be uploaded to Patreon, and you guys can discuss it in Patreon. Also be looking, baristas, for new things to be going on in the break room. And within your private barista area, I will be doing some stuff there. I plan to do some stuff there. Guys, please understand that I'm doing a lot of content work this month. You guys will be seeing more content from me. We're changing my marketing plan. As you see, we're changing my image, and we're going to be changing my image some more. As soon as it's safe for me to do so, we'll probably be doing more marketing headshots, that type of thing. Yes. Some things will be changing. Baristas, you will be starting to get new benefits information by the end of this month. We are changing your benefits, but not your package prices. So that's housekeeping 1. 2, I may go on Hot Tea, or I may pull Gwen in or somebody else in tomorrow night for a live if there is breaking big news for the Brittany case that we've been working on that I want to address. Or if there is some major event. I now have 2 co-hosts, so you may see me go live with them. Be watchful of that. We have brought back Psychic Daily Guides on YouTube and shorts on YouTube, and of course stories on all platforms that have stories. You're getting at least a 3-card reading. You may be getting the full Psychic Guide there. Be sure to be checking those out. If you are not subscribed to my TikTok, please go and subscribe to my TikTok. We are in a race to 1,000, so I can go once a month at least on TikTok Live and do free question and answers, because I really enjoy that part of the atmosphere and the ability to do things. All right. Also, let me see what else is housekeeping. We will be back Friday night. And Friday night, we definitely will be talking about the Brittany case. There are some other things on the agenda that I'm looking forward to getting into. And that is all within the guidance that we do not A, have a power outage, B, lose cable service, C, that the booster shot does not take Aeson out. Because as y'all know, I will not work and give readings if I do not feel like it. It's not good for me, it's not good for spirit, and it's not good for my connection with you. Other than that, I want you to make sure to wash your hands, wear your mask, make sure that you're getting ready for this winter, because it may not be hellish, but we've already have supply chain problems, and we have other supply chain problems. It can be chain reactive. We also want to begin keeping and focusing on growing in 2022. Baristas, your next meeting will be the last, will be October 25th at 8 p.m. And with that meeting, be ready to talk about what you want to see going on with the network in 2022. All right, y'all. You have a great evening. We will talk at you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. My feet have come too far for you.